350. Erschießt uns, wenn wir nicht vorsichtig sind, the new soldier said, speaking softly. He was much younger than the others, with a thin blonde wisp of mustache. Weg von hier, said the older one. Es ist blöd und gefährlich. Wir finden ihn nie. Jonathan closed his eyes and tried desperately to make some sense of the words. Noch ein paar Minuten, said the tall soldier. Ich hab satt, said the older. Jonathan crouched low to the ground, certain the Hessians knew exactly where he was and that they were only deciding what to do with him. The young soldier spoke again, but Jonathan could understand him no better than before. He watched their faces intently. Suddenly, he was sure he understood. They were going to kill him. He jumped up. Don't shoot, he cried. Mein Gott, the tall soldier cried. Vor unseren Augen. Es ist nur ein Junge, said the young one. Jonathan held his hands high over his head. Don't kill me, he cried. Please. The soldiers leveled their guns at him. The older ones spoke, and they looked about as if in search of others. Apparently satisfied no one else was there, they scrutinized Jonathan. He couldn't bear their stares. Hanging his head, he began to cry, slowly sinking to his knees as the sobs deepened. He felt numb and utterly helpless. Come here, the old soldier shouted at him. Trying to stifle his cries, Jonathan looked up. He knew he was being told to do something, and he wanted more than anything to do it, but he didn't understand what it was. Idiot! Cried the soldier. Die verstehen nie! Komm her, Junge! Jonathan pushed himself to his feet, then took a tentative step toward the one who had been speaking to him. The soldier nodded. Das ist besser, he said. Encouraged by the man's tone, Jonathan took another cautious step. Again the soldier nodded. With increasing relief that he was doing the right thing, Jonathan continued to move. But the soldier suddenly shouted at him and hastily lifted his gun. Halt! Jonathan stopped at once. From either side, the other two soldiers moved closer. The tall one stepped on the gun Jonathan had left. With a cry, he snatched it up and held it triumphantly aloft. The soldiers talked to one another. Not moving, afraid to look about, aware only that they were talking about him, Jonathan said, I don't know what you want me to do. The youngest of the soldiers looked at him curiously. Wir sprechen kein Englisch, he said. Warum sprichst du kein Deutsch? The other soldiers laughed. Baffled, Jonathan kept studying their faces, trying to find some clue to their words. The tall one had a scar by his cheek. The old one kept touching his mustache, while the youngest had bright, rosy cheeks. Now and again, as they talked, they looked at Jonathan. And one of them laughed, and the others joined in. Feeling shame, certain they were making fun of him, Jonathan hung his head. Dreh dich um, the older soldier barked. Startled, Jonathan looked up. Dreh dich um, the Hessian repeated, clearly exasperated. Reaching out, he shoved Jonathan. Taken by surprise, Jonathan tripped and fell, instantly covering his head with his arms to ward off the blow he sensed was to follow. Los, said the older one. Macht vor Angst in die Hosen. The young one gave him an answer. Jonathan, sure they were about to do something to him, shut his eyes tightly. But when nothing happened, he opened them again. They were only studying him, the muzzles of their guns pointing toward the ground. Steh auf, the older one snapped. Es tut dir keiner was. Reaching down, he pulled at Jonathan's arm and hauled him to his feet. Then he shoved him, this time not